A couple of videos back, I made a video about the new temporary head of Ofsted, a man who is obviously an extremely religious Muslim. And I did voice my feelings of disquiet about somebody with his strength of religious conviction being at the head of what should be a secular school system, especially in the light of Islam's very vigorous attitudes towards people of other religions. I got some interesting letters under the video and I thought I'd share some of them with you. I would also talk about the Islamisation of British culture, which is happening and which we might pay a bit more attention to. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. And that reminds me, I do beg you all to follow me on X or Twitter. As you will know, recently a law went into force in Britain to do with what they call online harms. It's a very badly written law. It depends on feels rather than reals. And it could catch me any time. And if I go dark for a while or forever, I want to be able to tell you about it. And I might suddenly clock on to YouTube and discover my channel's missing. So if you would all subscribe to me on X, then I'll be able to let you know. That's the best I can do. I do beg you all, just start following me on X. I was voicing my disquiet about Sir Hamid Patel, who, judging from his style of dress, made me a little uncomfortable about somebody with his obvious religious convictions being at the head of our educational assessment authority. And I got some comments under my video, obviously from Muslims. I'll quote one of them: "You racist old lady." I've had worse thrown at me. But basically that's what they all meant. Some of them were a little more elegantly put, and some of them were to the point where I deleted them. But first of all, I will keep making this point. Objecting to somebody's political opinions doesn't make anyone a racist. And Islam is a political movement. It's a political movement with prayers bolted on and promises of paradise. But it is a political system before it's a religion, really. And, well, that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to that. Well, until the government tells me I'm not. If I object to the idea that a woman is worth half of a man, if I object to the idea that everybody should pray to Allah or be punished, if I object to the idea that Muhammad is a prophet who conversed second-hand with God, if I object to a belief in that sort of thing, that doesn't make me a racist. It makes me a skeptic, at least, of Islam. So I had those, and it's quite obvious that the sort of religious Muslims who were writing in that vein were the sort of people who have lost the ability to think critically. And that's one of the problems with Islam. Somehow it seems to cancel critical thinking to those who become very religious with it. Right, now, as well as that, I got some messages from people who were seeing Islam creeping into their state school education and who didn't like it. And two of the letters made an important point, and that is that Islam is being allowed to do this because parents out of the Christian tradition are not being adamant enough about their own cultural wants and needs. This one, for instance, the school my daughters go to has a hub where, I've learnt, it's now also been designated a prayer room. I went in school this morning and asked about hub passes for his two daughters. Apparently you didn't get into that hub unless you had a pass because you had a specific reason to be there. He had to wait all day to get an answer on that. So he asked in the morning. At 3:10 p.m, their teacher came and asked me why exactly they needed hub passes. She basically tried to discourage me. However, I said that the hub had also been designated a prayer room and that my daughters would like time to have silent prayers. She then had to agree with me. My daughters will have the same access as other pupils. It's time to renew our faith. Those girls are very likely to find themselves being bullied. And that's another step that this parent will have to deal with. But I don't suggest that he let this pass. Then there's the second letter was, my children's school stopped doing nativity, harvest festivals, Easter parade, etc. But it was the non-Muslim lazy parents who wanted to stop the Christmas nativity, carol singing, etc. She said, this person said that the one or two Muslims who were there could see no problem with this. So this was something the teachers had decided, and then the other parents went along with it. Please don't always blame the Muslims. I don't. I actually don't. A good deal of my message when I'm talking about this particular, which I see as a problem, is not that the Muslims are to be blamed, but that people in this country, in these islands, do not stand up for their Christian civilization as much as they should. And the Muslims are just getting away with what they can get away with. I don't have it now, but some of you may have seen it. There was an clip, and it showed a lot of Muslims who were praying in the street. This is a common thing, it's a power thing. They started praying in the street. This was in France. A group of French people, non-Muslim people, who were nearby, started singing the Marseillaise very loudly in a full-throated group, drowning out the Muslims. It was the best display of national pride I'd seen in a long time. And that is the sort of thing. I'm not talking about violence here. I'm talking about Muslims who feel they want, because there is a basic tenet of Islam. I keep saying this, and it's true. If you're a good Muslim, you should be very much involved in forcing non-Muslims to be Muslims. That is part of the religion. Christianity doesn't do that. Christianity is supposed to be, Christians have been pretty disgustingly aggressive in the past, but this isn't a basic tenet of Christianity, to force people to be Christians. The general idea is to talk people into being Christians, to show them the light, do you remember Have I Got News? It's my line anyway. You know what I mean. It was on British TV, and it was on American TV as well. And people had to extemporise, and one of them was things you don't want to hear in a lift. And one guy stood up and said, "Have you heard the good news about Jesus?" And you realise, of course, you're stuck in a lift with a Jehovah's Witness or something. And people but that says a lot about our attitude to religion. We don't like to hear about it. But when people of strong enough faith, we tend to get very nervous about actually pushing back on that. Anyway, so this person says that he or she remembers from her, I'll say she, I don't remember whether it was a she, remembers from her childhood Christmas plays and Easter fairs and all that sort of thing. They're good memories. It's not only that the lazy parents aren't prepared to, dress their kids up as Easter eggs or something. They are robbing the children of precious memories. Somebody else said, we always started our school with the Lord's Prayer. Yeah, I remember that, all standing up and droning the Lord's Prayer. But there it is. And I remember that as, I didn't think much of it at the time, I just did it. But no, I remember that as part of my school life. Now, so glad I home educate my children. My son told me the first thing he learnt at his school was the 5 pillars of Islam. We're a Christian family. I won't have my children corrupted by this government. And that is a problem. I'm going to show you a part of the problem right now. Now, this is all very sweet, isn't it? A little girl showing all these obviously non-Muslim children how to pray. But it's indoctrination anyway. And, if the Muslim children were being made to go into churches and learn how to pray in churches, then that wouldn't, I'd understand all of that back and forth, the give and take, all the rest of it. But I am quite certain that their parents would object very strongly to the children being in church and learning how to pray to Jesus. That's the another letter I got was somebody saying he was not British. He'd been here for a while. He thought the Brits were the nicest, kindest people in the world, and that was their weakness because it was being exploited. Where's that cursor gone? Oh, here it comes. My kids in school have maximum chapters on Islam and a few on Christianity and very few on Hinduism. And the person here in this one mentioned, I think what she meant was, it wasn't entirely clear, but it seemed that this person was saying that what was being said about Hinduism was wrong anyway. Teachers don't even know any other religion in correct details except Islam, even Christian teachers. Well, I venture to suggest they're probably not Christian, but I think I know what she means. Somebody said, if my child comes home and utters a single word about Islam, he will not be attending school anymore. Oh, this one, the last one was, Ofsted rated a Muslim school in Birmingham as outstanding, where mothers were not allowed in the room at parent-teachers evenings. Apparently, they don't need to get involved. And that reminded me of this little article from a while back. This is from 2019. Oh, hang on. Right, that's better. Muslim school will not allow girls to eat lunch until after boys have finished, Ofsted chief says. You see, it's this that I object to in Islam. This absolute stratification of society. Men over women, Muslims over non-Muslims, this complete lack of any sort of equality. A Muslim school will not allow girls to eat lunch until after the boys have finished. Obviously, it's a Muslim school, so they segregate the sexes, and because of that, there's only one dining room, so the boys get to eat and then they go away, and then the girls get to eat, no doubt in the mess that the boys left. And this was considered a reasonable way of dealing with this particular problem. The Al-Hijra school in Birmingham is still segregating boys and girls. Well, I understand the segregating. What I don't agree with is the way the segregation is done. Addressing the Women and Equalities Select Committee, he said that Ofsted inspectors are trying to hold schools account, I think he means to account, for discriminating against girls, but feel isolated when their stance is not backed up by ministers. And that's the problem. It's the elite of our society, the school teachers too, of course, but the elite of our society will not push back against Islamic ideas, even when those ideas directly contravene the ideas we have. And I want to finish off with some pictures. Okay, here's a picture. This was taken in Heathrow Airport, and I found that very objectionable. Multi-faith prayer room, all right, but the image of somebody praying is a person in a Muslim praying attitude. This is all over Heathrow Airport. I don't know about other airports. So far as I remember, City Airport also had this. Multi-faith prayer room. It's the same logo. And here, a multi-faith prayer room, and they show the different symbols, but the praying position is a Muslim one. Now, if it really is multi-faith, then the Muslim praying position is actually in the minority. The Buddhist prayer position looks like this. The Hindu prayer position looks like this. Oh, here's another Buddhist one. Now, there are lots of Hindus and lots of Buddhists and lots of Christians, and that's the Christian praying position. Here we have some more. The Christian praying position involves the hands out there and a more upright kneeling position. Even though it's kneeling, it's nothing at all like this. That's Veronese. Always like this, an upright kneeling position and the hands out at the front, as often is the case with Hindu praying. Oh, I got a Dura picture as well, called praying hands, isn't it? But this position with the praying hands like that is a very common one, and I'd say far more of the human race, when they pray, have that position for their hands than Muslims. So why this? Why is it taken for granted that we're going to understand prayer in this configuration? Well, because of this sort of thing going on all the time. Yeah, let me show you about my religion. Let me show you about my religion. Oh, but if you want to show me about your religion, no, we're not having that. We have all these religions here insulted by this logo here. And nobody appears to be raising any objections about it. Least of all are Christian movers and shakers, bishops, priests, vicars. Because this is still supposed to be a Christian country. We can be tolerant of other peoples, but our basic organisation is a Christian one. I do find that objectionable. Yep. All right, well, that's going to get some interesting responses, isn't it? I hope at least not from the government. From the semi-literate race baiters, well, yeah, that just adds to the numbers. Okay, remember the Twitter thing. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.